Today we are going to start our geometric project. So you need to do a portrait. It could be of a person, an animal. I'll even let you do a character if you like. You probably should pick something you're really interested in and you like because you're going to be staring at this for quite some time. So here I have a finished one from last year. Isabella Lewis did this one, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what this looks like up close. So we have some little issues, minor ones right here and there where it doesn't quite line up, and I'll show you how to fix that. But as I run my mouse over this, can you guys see? These are all teeny tiny little triangles. Now at first you might think to yourself, ugh, that looks miserable. That's going to take forever. But I promise you, you will probably become addicted. You will love it, and it's not overly complicated. We're going to be focusing on tints and shades of colors. We're going to be focusing on using the eyedropper tool, the selection tool, and using the pen tool. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll zoom out. So Bella decided to put a background, a simple background like this on hers. Let me show you how you would get started in this. So this is her finished one, and then what I'm going to do is place a picture and kind of show you how I begin. So I have my picture. I'm going to go ahead and hit place, and you guys will need to find the picture that you want first off the internet, and it can be anything. You don't have to worry about copyright right now because you're just going to be taking it and transferring it into a different art form. All right, I want to lock this, so I'm going to go to Object, Lock Selection, and that way it's not going to move on me. Now I'm going to zoom in and get really close, and I want to show you, so let me scoot over here. If I go to View and Outline, you can see all the shapes that made up this particular butterfly. So there are tons and tons of triangles. To get the effect that you want, you need to keep it into triangles. Now, Bella did do some that weren't triangles, and I think it does lessen the effect a little bit. So I want you guys to stick specifically in a triangle shape. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back over here. So the first thing you're going to do is to find an area, and we're going to use the pen tool. Now, here's how you make a triangle with a pen tool. You click to make an anchor point, you go up, click again, come back down, and then you come over and see that little circle that appears. That's showing you that that's going to complete it and make a shape. So you therefore have a triangle. And then if you're going to connect off this triangle, you hold down the Shift key and you start with one of the existing anchor points. I'll hold down the Shift key, and then I'm going to come up here, come over, and back down. Now you'll notice that my triangle disappeared, and that kind of made it a little confusing. That's because we don't really actually have a stroke on it right now. Not one that we can see. We have white on white. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to make my stroke for the demonstration purposes. Let's just pick like a blue. Okay, let me try this again. So now we're going to click, click. There we go. Now you can see that outline. All right, and to connect off of it, we're going to have to hold down Shift, and then we can click. Anytime you can click to existing anchor points, you want to go ahead and do that. That's going to make sure that you don't have these little gaps right here where the white shows through. If you don't connect to an existing anchor point, and let's say you just decide to go off of it on your own, there will be a little gap that's going to appear, and that's going to be a problem. That will give you a problem in the end, okay? So what I just did, I did not go off an existing anchor point. That would probably cause me a little gap in the end. So let me do this on the butterfly so you can see how it's going to work, and then we'll go from there. So couple things. The V key on your keyboard is going to take you to your selection tool, and hitting the I key on your keyboard is going to take you to your eyedropper tool. Those are the two ones that you're going to need to know. And then the P key will take you to the pen. So it's I for eyedropper, V for selection, and P for pen. So I have my pen tool. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to decide where I'm going to start. Okay, so how do you know where to go? Well, you're looking for changes in color, and anywhere that the color changes, you're going to capture it with a triangle. So let's just start here. So I'm going to try to get this light orange, and I'm going to come back over and connect. I'm leaving mine as a blue stroke for now. I'm going to make sure my stroke is actually as thin as it can be. I want to see it, but I don't want it to be distracting. I could also change it to white because white would show up pretty well. Whoops. Let me come over here and do it. White would show up pretty well also instead of blue. Okay, pick it up here. All right, so now I'm going to keep going. So I've got my pen tool. I'm going to keep going. Anytime I see a color change, and let me zoom in. When you're working, it's easier if you zoom in way close. Okay, anytime I see the color change, I'm going to try to capture that. So again, I'm holding down Shift, and I'm just going to get this large area. The way it kind of works is this. The larger the shape you do, the less detail it has. The more shapes you do, the more detail it has. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to keep capturing it. Again, you have to make sure it's a complete shape. If you don't, you're going to have trouble when you go to fill it with color. So hold down Shift, and I'll do this one little area, and then I'll come back and show you what it starts to look like so you can see that it's not going to take you forever and you're going to be okay. Okay. And you probably, as I said, will start to get addicted to it and want to work on it again and again and again. Okay, it's one of those things that you might hate it while you're working on it, and then you'll love it afterwards. So I've done this little area right here. It's not a lot, but it's enough for us to see to get started. So what we're going to do is switch to the eyedropper tool. So, well, first you have to select it. So V for your selection tool, and then you're going to click your triangle. So mine's already selected. Switch eye to eyedropper, and you're just going to go ahead and click on it. That eye drops the color that's there. V for your selection tool to click the triangle, I for eyedropper. V to select, I for eyedropper. So I'm going back and forth, and I'm just you can see how quickly this goes once you start. It goes very quickly, and you can fill it really easily. It's the making the triangles that takes the longest. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to turn off my photograph image, and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so that's just that teeny tiny little area. There's really not much that I have done. There's a lot more to do, but you can see what it starts to look like. Because I connected them, there's no white space, there's no gaps, everything looks pretty good. If I had not connected them, I would have what Bella had. Let me go out of here for a second so you guys can see. I was really zoomed in. She has these teeny tiny white spaces that pop up, and that's because her triangles did not connect off of existing anchor points. So here we go. These are some things that you need to know. V is your selection tool shortcut. I is your eyedropper. Oops, not drooper. P is your pen tool. And you want to connect off of anchor points, okay? That is your main thing to remember, and other than that, it moves really fast. Now let's look at some of Bella's areas. She started in some of these colorful areas. Whoops, let me go to my selection tool. And you can see here's larger triangles, which look fine. Here's smaller triangles, and the more triangles you have, the more detail it's going to have, the more three-dimensional it looks. The larger triangles that you have, it looks a little more flat. Even though it still looks good, it just doesn't have as much detail. So if you're feeling lazy, do bigger shapes. If you're feeling, you can always start with bigger shapes and then go to smaller shapes. So if you're like, I don't know, I don't want to take on too much, you can start with larger shapes and then start to go smaller and smaller. All right, give it a shot. Let me know what questions you have, and I'm here to help.